KwaZulu-Natal police are investigating a case of attempted murder after a suspected assassination attempt on South African Revenue Service advocate Coreth Naudé. It's believed she stopped at a boom gate when two suspects approached her vehicle and opened fire in a hotel parking lot in Umhlanga. This was on Thursday night. Naudé was acting for SARS in a tax inquiry involving businesswoman Shaun Mkhize, her company Royal AM Football Club and other entities. Whistleblower advocate John Clarke joins me in studio now to discuss this. John, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. Let's first get your reaction to this heinous crime. I just want to, for the benefit of the viewers who may not have heard this story, Coreth Naudé, as we explained in that introduction, was at a boom gate leaving the parking lot of a hotel, and she gets confronted. I just want to read from News 24 here, who have a very detailed explanation of exactly the kind of injuries she suffered. And they're saying that she survived an attempted hit on 18 July. She was shot 4 times, one bullet ripping through her neck and exiting through her mouth. This is severe.
The trauma must be unimaginable for her and her family and her friends. And all I would want to say, being a social worker who's had to do trauma counseling for people and similar things, I would encourage her and her family to find solidarity with other people who are survivors of such shocking retaliation. It's not the end of the road. The very fact that she has survived, the fact that she is able to now live and bring public attention to what's happening is in itself a sign of hope in this very gloomy situation. And I would really want to just say my deep, deep feelings of empathy and compassion for that family, and certainly get hold of me if she and her family want to, and I can put you in touch with people in KZN, because I know them. There's some wonderful people who are ready to provide psychosocial, spiritual support so that we can turn this dreadful bitter lemon into something positive. Find meaning in it.
Let's talk about the chilling effect, John, because that's what this was intended to do as well. For her investigating, we are not going to speculate as to whether this is as a result of the case that she was working on, but it is very clear that she was working in a case for SARS against the affairs of the Durban businesswoman Shaun Mkhize. Now, what I find to be very, very unsettling are the comments of Advocate Anton du Plessis. He is the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions. She is quoted in the media here, News 24, as saying that this is extremely concerning, and to see how brazen criminals are becoming as the noose of accountability tightens. He goes on to say, we expect it will get worse as our cases proceed as a result of our combined efforts to prosecute complex organized crime and corruption. The words there that really resonate with me is that we expect this to get worse.
Sure, yeah. I mean, well, I always try as a social worker to try and look at the light and look at the positive rather than curse the darkness, to light the candle. And the one thing which does encourage me is that the chilling effect is not working. It's not chilling people, because I'm getting people coming to me through the whistleblower network that we've established. We call ourselves witness bearers for positive change. And other people coming to me, also lawyers who are professionals who have been wrongfully arrested and intimidated when they're investigating things, doing forensic audits. I mean, recently in the news, Sarah Berger and Bradley Conradi investigating deep-level corruption at Fort Hare University. I mean, they were arrested before Easter, were bundled into a Lear jet, flown to East London from Cape Town, and subjected to a retaliation there where she spent 6 days in prison waiting a bail hearing, and he spent 2 weeks. Now, if you look at the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it says that a person should only be held in detention for 24 hours before they get a bail hearing. Now, this is the state actually retaliating against people. Why did it happen? Because she had produced a report that found that Oscar Mabuyane had allegedly faked his academic record at Fort Hare University. It happened soon after that. So I would really believe that this needs to be looked at as well. When he was to appear in court for that event, and the evidence was presented, the state attorney didn't turn up, and the magistrate had to basically strike the matter from the court, from the roll. So we're still seeing, and that was before the elections, I have to say. Yeah. We are now in a new country, and that's why I'd say the best thing I can say about the fact that there is now signs of hope. I was watching the new Minister of Police, Senzo Mkhuna, in your earlier report, and it was very heartening to see him really trying to get alongside and engage and be public there. He has got a very difficult job because those criminal networks are still very much there as what one of my friends calls a thugocratic machine that's deliberately working to retard any investigation, any progress in overhauling the Protected Disclosures Act. And I want to talk a bit about that, if you let me, in terms of where I see we're going.
Please go ahead.
Well, before the elections, I met with Songezo Zibi, together with other whistleblower people like Cynthia Stimple, Coogan Pillay and others, and Mark Hayward. And Songezo Zibi said, well, if he gets into Parliament, one of his first priorities, he's going to launch a private member's bill together with a petition where he hopes to get 1 million signatures to ensure that Parliament enact and overhaul the Protected Disclosures Act before the end of this year. Now, it's been dragging on for nearly 5 years since Mandy Wiener's book came out, since all that's happened, and since we became aware of this problem from Judge Zondo and the Zondo Commission, how he said we've got to protect whistleblowers. So in response to Advocate du Plessis' point about what in the NPA, they have the citizens on their side. South Africa wants to be in partnership and supporting them, and all we need is that protection. And let me just give you this thing. You know that the budget for the VIP Protection Unit is 2 billion a year.
Yeah.
You know what the budget is for the SIU? 1.1 billion a year. So you can see where the government's priorities have been in the past. Yeah. So there's the government of national unity. They can now go back to before they start talking about all this other stuff, here is their number one priority. Because if you sort out the criminal justice system, you sort out so many other problems that follow from that.
It's interesting you talk about the budget for VIP protection, because the very same political party you mentioned, which Songezo Zibi leads, Rise Mzansi, they were interviewed ahead of the opening of Parliament, and one of their leaders telling our colleague that it is concerning for him how much the budget for the protection of politicians has grown, and what is it that politicians need protection from if it is the same people that elect them into these positions that they now suddenly need protection against. But we're veering off here, John,
well,
because
can I just
it's an emotional matter, it's an emotive matter, an emotive issue.
But can I just say this? I would be happily see that money going to protect them if they did what they were expected to do. Enact legislation that serves the best long-term common good of the people. If they did that, by all means, they're going to be targets of criminal syndicates and all the rest, but the criminal syndicates are using other means to actually neutralize politicians through, just retarding this and this, that, and the next thing. And I believe that their days are numbered, because we have a constitution and a Bill of Rights, and we've got whistleblowers who are continuing, notwithstanding what happens to them, to kind of hold the feet to the fire of the politicians and the officials who are corrupt.
The police minister that you spoke about, he has promised swift action, and we know now that it is the police's elite crime-fighting unit, the Hawks, that are investigating the matter of Coreth Naudé. Do you have confidence that this will be unraveled, and whoever was sent to do this, they will have, as you say, their feet held to the fire, at least to tell the nation who sent them.
Well, I do, if we actually get the PDA overhauled and start not just simply protecting and supporting, but incentivizing whistleblowers, particularly when it comes to financial crimes. It takes two to tango, and if you've got a knowledge between the two potential corrupting parties that one of them could blow the whistle on the other, well, it's a deterrent. But unfortunately, we've got a lot of people have misgivings about the fact that we should in any way reward whistleblowers. We're not talking about reward whistleblowers. We're talking about unraveling financial corrupt practices. And the most effective, and this is not just South Africa, global best practice shows that that is the best way of ensuring that we get to the heart. Because financial crimes are difficult. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, but I've been told by lawyer friends that they're very difficult because these guys have good lawyers, they have clever ways of means of trying to, dampen the paper trail and all the rest. So if you've got somebody inside the system, so we've got to engage those powers and unmask them and then find people inside who are going to support that whole agenda. And I think we need to be less squeamish about this, the ethical absolutes about it. And if you want to test whether a person's fair or not, well, there are plenty of people like me and social workers and ministers and people like that who can get alongside them and help that person make sure that they're coming from the right place. Because I do agree it's important that you do the right thing for the right reason. Yeah. But we've got to get the right thing done.
Talking about trying to also be less squeamish when it comes to how law enforcement goes about trying to unravel this web, particularly the financial crimes. We have a VBS matter that's now been resuscitated because one of the people that was at the helm of the corruption, he's now a convicted fraudster who is in jail because he decided to come to some kind of an agreement with the prosecuting authority. There is unhappiness about the amount of time given to him, I suppose, because of the agreement that he has with the prosecuting authority. Is that the best way for authorities sometimes to go about unraveling this web of financial crimes? Are we being unnecessarily too hard on the prosecuting authorities?
Look, I know that there are wonderfully committed people in the National Prosecuting Authority who are dedicated to their job every day, but obviously I can't engage with them closely because then they were seen to be losing their independence and all that stuff. But all I can say with absolute confidence that whistleblowers are more than willing to make themselves available to actually do it. And I did have a conversation with one of the senior people, Rodney de Kock, some year or so ago, and he said it wouldn't take too much to change the legislation, the legislative provisions to make sure that whistleblowers are protected under the NPA Act as well, rather than just going through the conventional witness protection. Because I know that, to secure a prosecution, you've got to have such rigor. You've got to make sure that you have no kind of loose ends in your thing. So that's why they want people to testify in person. That's why they have to, witness protection programs. We want to just make it easier for people just to blow the whistle and to be protected, and not to experience retaliation. I mean, as things stand now, I've got 2 whistleblowers who I've given a platform to on my YouTube channel to tell their stories. And guess what's happening? They're both getting defamation suits, and so am I now, because we are giving ventilation to their thing. So civil society, we're using those spaces, and I'm pretty confident that these guys are not going to succeed because of this, the Constitution, and the fact that the Bill of Rights also implies a Bill of Responsibilities, and are seeing people are busy doing that, and we are rolling back this mudslide. And all I'd want to say to the NPA and to the Hawks and to Minister Nkunu, don't squander the goodwill and the commitment that's there, because it's there, and stop being so squeamish about things. Start showing a measure of boldness, because the people are just fed up with the ongoing procrastination, the kicking a can down the road, this procedural kind of obfuscation that happens, the way the law is abused by people who know it well for the sake of ensuring that it's not just justice delayed being justice denied, to the point where it gets delayed so long it becomes injustice compounded. That's the reality we're seeing today, but on the positive side, we're seeing people that recognize that and are not going to shut up.
John Clarke, thank you very much for your time.